Out of 50 plants, you're always going to have some sick ones. Not sure if the water didn't get to the end of the row, but there's a couple that don't look very good here. The fourth one's also not looking real good. There was just some, these are Romas. They're kind of a plump, round, pear-shaped tomato, more plump. And then the San Marzanos are on the back. Let's see, this big one is an Amish paste tomato, and they're really nice sized and very meaty, very nice tomatoes. And then we only have a couple of those. We've used a lot of them. Here's another Amish paste, big Amish paste tomatoes. Well, they sure fill up the jar fast. Then we have our San Marzanos, and our San Marzanos are longer and more narrow, and not so much juice on the inside, very meaty, longer and more narrow like that. This standard San Marzano size, I'd say maybe a little bit bigger. And we have 6 or 7, looks like 7 plants of those or more. You see what the wind does if you don't stake up your plants. That big cage falls over. There's not a lot of tomatoes on it. This is the, let's see, Brandywine. We picked them all, and they've been wonderful. Great, big, beautiful tomatoes. They're very watery, not very meaty, but the flavor is good, and they're potato leaf tomato. Pink, low acid probably because of their pinkness. And let's see, I don't know if I can find it. Yeah, here's a pink tomato versus red. And they can get real big. They can get as big as a pound, even bigger. Lots of San Marzanos. Our big beef, if the tomatoes were labeled right, they were about, I'd say, half to 3/4 of a pound on the nicer tomatoes. And let's see, they weren't like beefsteak where they were knobby. They were nice and round actually, but the tops cracked on quite a few of them. Big beef. Now you can see that's a nice looking tomato, and so is that. By cracking, I mean, let me find some here. Wow. Actually, there's not as many of those. You can see the little cracking on top. I noticed that maybe a little more so on some of the big beef. On the Better Boy, Rutgers, these are Rutgers. They're a nice tomato. A little bit flat, not too much. Nice for slicing, no cracking. Blossom end rot doesn't seem to be a problem on any of these. Nope. I'd say probably 6 to 8 ounce tomatoes on the Rutgers. And the big boys didn't perform well in size this year. Yeah, the plants do not look healthy, so we won't make them give us a grade. But there's a lot of red tomatoes we can turn into sauce. So we pick them all, blender them, put them in the sauce, cook them up, separate the sauce from the juice. And there's still lots of red tomatoes. And you can see the Rutgers and Celebrity only grew 4 feet maybe. The big boy, I just kept, they're huge. They're 7 feet tall, and I've pruned those off 4 or 5 times. This is a 22-inch cage, I think. 21 or 22-inch expanded metal 6-inch opening cage. All right, we'll go back to picking tomatoes.